tell us. Have things unfolded the way you would have expected for the finance function? Is there better visibility, as much visibility as you thought there would be? Or maybe it's not visibility. Maybe it's risk adverse mechanisms. I don't know. But
no, it's a great question, Jack. And look, I always say, as leaders and as executives, our job is to look around the corner, right? That's why we get the big bucks. And so, FP&A is where I spend, I would say 60%, 70% of my time. Don't get me wrong, accounting is great, and the closing of the books and the reporting of the numbers and getting the audited financials, it's table stakes. And I think every organization that has a strong sort of accounting team and a controllership in place handles that. I think the role of the CFO has certainly evolved over the years from being kind of this job that does a lot of the backward looking accounting and reporting to really looking ahead. And this is where the FP&A question is really important, because it is all about scenario planning. And so, as an example, we're in a challenging economic environment, as I alluded to earlier on, and as from all of your guests on the podcast. And so the managing of capital, which at the moment is a resource which is scarce, and ensuring you have the preservation of cash. You've got at least 3 to 4 years of cash on the balance sheet. And then how are you investing the cash? How are you planning for different scenarios from a top line? If the revenue goes up, the revenue goes down. Sometimes, you can see elongation of sales processes, and deals are taking a bit longer to close because, the customers are having a hard time in getting approval for the purchase order. So I think FP&A and the role of the CFO certainly has now, it's a case where, so companies that are the best adept at scenario planning, having access to the data, the information we talked about earlier on, and being able to flex and adjust in real time is super, super important. And so, as an example, at Illumio, we are talking a lot as we do kind of the wrap on the planning for the coming fiscal year on how can we sharpen the focus of the company, and the 3 or 4 things we're going to do to really move the needle for us as a company next year. Because you need to be laser focused, if you will, and say, here is how I'm going to place the bets, right? And these are the investments I'm going to make. This is the ROI, here's how much it's going to cost. And so, doing the analysis, having the data, and being able to support the business investment, essentially doing the business sort of case, becomes really, really important, especially at a time when access to cash and capital and resources is scarce. And so, with our organization and the CFO team at Illumio, we do a stop, start, continue exercise every quarter. We look at things we're doing and say, we need to stop this, we need to start this, we need to continue. So that just enables us to really be adept and be flexible and be able to move as the needs of the business sort of move. So it's all about.
Can you give us an example of something that was stopped?
I don't. Well, there are a lot of things that have been, I would say, it's been de-emphasized. So, as an example, would be, expanding internationally. We decided we were going to reduce the breadth of expansion in terms of the number of countries we were initially intending to go to, and then we were going to increase the depth of expansion. So we were going to double down into some of the larger economies and countries with a GDP and had a tendency to buy security software. So, again, trying to really sharpen the emphasis, sharpen the focus, and say, here are the 3 areas, the markets we're going to bet on, the new markets we're going to bet on in the coming year. Similarly, in deciding how to spend our R&D and on the innovation front, you have a wish list of 100 things that you need to build, right? Half of it is coming from customers, the other half is coming from the field team saying, oh, we need this and that, and then agreeing and saying, you know what, we're going to build these 12 things, and this is the ROI, and this is how we're going to track it and measure. So it is about really honing down, sharpening the focus, investing appropriately.